We just got our first look at 007 First Light gameplay. It is looking pretty solid. Let's talk about it. Hello there everybody and welcome to The Comfy Spot. My name is Tyler and today we are going to be talking about the state of play that was held yesterday as of this video going live, today as of recording, for 007 First Light, the brand new James Bond game coming from Hitman developers IO Interactive. And honestly, after watching the state of play, I think the game is looking pretty darn good, if I should say so myself. I was, walking away from it excited for the game, excited to see more, excited to play it myself. Pretty soon, actually, we got confirmation that the game will be releasing on March 27th, 2026. So we don't have to wait too long, assuming it does not get a little bit delayed. The game is just a bit over 6 months away from release as of today. I'm excited for it. I'm excited for the game. This state of play was about 34 minutes long, and it basically featured an extended, uninterrupted, one hard cut as jump ahead of time during the demo thing, just extended 20-25 minutes of just pure raw gameplay from the game of James Bond's first mission as a recruit for the 00 program and everything. And then after that, it went into I guess you could say a guided, directed sequence talking about as show James again in a mission of sorts, except this time you had developers talking over what we were seeing, talking about the different things that you could do, so on and so forth. So this being IO Interactive being the ones developing this game, going into it, I expected it to be, Hitman, but maybe with a bit of James Bond flavoring thrown on it. And I kind of, after we saw that first trailer for the actual first real trailer over the summer that showed off a whole lot more of the action, I was thinking, oh, okay, maybe they are taking it and leading a bit more towards the action side of things. I'm sure there'll be some stealthy stuff in there as well, but I just was like, okay, wow, we're getting a whole lot of action here. And this gameplay demo shows that yes, this game is actually still very much leaning heavily into IO Interactive's Hitman genes and everything, their Hitman blood, their Hitman DNA, because there is plenty of stealthing around, plenty of, listening in on conversations, sneaking around enemies, distracting people to get to different places and all. But to balance that out, as you would expect from a James Bond story, there is plenty of action, and the action here definitely seems like it's very inspired by many notable third-person action adventure games of the past decade plus, but most notably the Uncharted series. We'll get to that more in a bit. I want to first talk about the stealthy side of things that we saw here in the mission. In the gameplay that we saw James having to try and sneak on into this hotel where there was this party going on. He was trying to tail 009 and find out what they were up to. So we see him have to try and get on into the hotel, and what did he have to do? He needed to get past some guards, but he couldn't because he didn't have the proper credentials. So what he had to do, we saw James, or the person playing as James, look around the environment. We see them looking around the environment and spotting things like, okay, there's a window I can go into, there's a pipe I can climb on, there's the window ledge, where there's all these different things in the environment I could use to try and distract people to make my way up to that window. And then you saw James, all right, let me turn on the water hose to distract this guard to make him come over, check that out. Then jump over the gate to go over there, get their lighter, distract the other guard, set something on fire to distract another one, then go climb around and get on top of things and all. So seeing all that really just kind of gives you an idea of, okay, so there will be different options and things that we can do in terms of getting into places. And I mean, in this particular example, it seemed very specific and straightforward and very no, this is the one way you have to get in. But just each of those different mechanics and ideas there is okay, these are the things that you'll be able to do in other missions. And in the later on section at the end of the state of play, where they showed another sequence and talked more about different things you could do, we saw that where James needed to he would talk to someone and she was like, all right, she was pretending to be a cameraman. He needed to get a camera. And we saw there were like 3 different options, 3 different ways he could get a camera in the space. But that was just one way in which James could have even gone about finding the information that he needed to find out and getting to the place he needed to get to in that specific mission. Going back to the thing at the hotel, we saw James also again using these gadgets that he has with his watch. We saw one was like a one that kind of made the people that he attacked with it sick. We saw there was like smoke grenades he could shoot out and all. It was just a lot of cool stealth mechanics there. Where there was also the conversation system, so you could go up to someone and chat with them, talk to an NPC, try and glean out information from them to use to find out clues about the people you're looking for, where you can go, things you could do. Again, all very much coming from that Hitman lineage that IO Interactive, has built up for themselves over the years. In Hitman, it's all about following people, listening to conversations, maybe chatting with a person here or there as need be to find out the ways in which you can get to your destination, find your target, and take them out as stealthily as possible. So it's cool to see IO Interactive bringing that here to James Bond, a more guided, linear, scripted experience. It's not as open-ended, seemingly, as the Hitman series is, but still giving you some room to breathe and have that player freedom when it comes to experimentation and just getting around and getting to your destination. So that was all really cool. And then just going back over to the combat side of things, the more action-oriented side of things that we saw in this state of play. Of course, things got bombastic. We did a jump ahead of time. There was a car chase going on. The car chase itself was cool. Again, very reminiscent of what you would expect from the Uncharted franchise. But the car chase was cool. Frame rate started dropping some during the car chase, but then, kind of picked itself back up, got itself back together. Then we see James, he's chasing this guy down, gets to an airplane hangar, and then he's fighting guards there, and then things just getting explosives, explosions, action, all kinds of crazy stuff going on, just like what you would expect from, your standard blockbuster summer action movie, and from some of the craziest, bigger, just bombastic James Bond action scenes. And then he gets onto the plane, Tom Cruise Mission Impossible style, by climbing on the fuel the fuel hose, gets on top, gets inside, and then here this sequence is when the frame rate really started dropping hard, because we see James hack into the plane, tilt it side to side, and all the cargo and stuff just flipping all around the place, knocking into enemies. And here the frame rate was dropping hard. I mean, I'm not a frame rate calculator or anything, but it definitely looked like it was dropping into below the 20s, not into the single digits, but definitely looked like it was dropping into the teens, just to my eye from what I could glean from it. Again, this game is 6 months out from release as of right now, so they have time to polish that up, get that frame rate more in line, get it more stable and everything. But nevertheless, it's still, the action was just very intense, very over the top. And then it all culminated in a sequence where James ends up getting flung essentially out the plane and just free falling to try and get a parachute from another enemy, a la Nathan Drake in Uncharted 3. This entire sequence was very reminiscent of that game and that iconic sequence from it. I don't think that's a bad thing though. I don't think that's a bad thing. It was very cool. And again, this is like you can kind of expect to see this type of stuff from James Bond movies. It's been a while since I saw a James Bond movie. The last one I saw was Skyfall. I have not seen the last 2 Daniel Craig ones, but I saw Die Another Day. I've seen bits of Goldfinger, but this sequence here, it's not too out of the realm of normalcy for a James Bond movie. It is definitely seems a bit more like what you might see in, say, a Mission Impossible, but still, I was all in on it. I was very much here for it. It looked like a lot of fun. It looked very exciting. And then that second sequence that I mentioned, where again they showed again James at another party, another mission where he had to find information, get to a target, and they showed the ways you could go about doing different things. They showed the different ways you could use your gadgets that you have on you for distraction purposes or for combat purposes. They showed the different ways you could go about combat as well. You can, try and be more stealthy about it. You could be just, balls to the wall with your fists. I especially liked one thing they showed where James, he distracted an enemy, sent them into a room, silently just got another one, and then went to the room the guy was in, closed the door, and like broke the lock so the guy couldn't get on out. Very clever, very funny. I liked that. It was also cool how during combat and some of the sequences we saw James like throw his gun at enemies when it was out of ammo. That was very cool. I really liked that. Just shows how on the spot, how improvisational and just like, all right, I gotta do what I gotta do, James will get during fights. So it was very cool. All in all, I walked away from this state of play for 007 First Light, I don't want to say, I guess you could say impressed. I was not blown away by what we saw, but I did really like what we saw. I've really not played any of the Hitman games. I've dabbled like very, very lightly years and years and years ago. I respect the series. So going into this, I was hoping that, I was totally fine for it being, I know it's going to be like Hitman. Like, it's just almost certainly going to be there. These, Hitman, IOI and 007, it's a match made in heaven because of their legacy and all their acclaim with the Hitman series. It makes sense. So it's cool to see that is all still here, but we're also going to be getting some seemingly good, solid, fun action as well. So I'm here for it. And again, the game's coming out March 27th, 2026, not too far away, so we don't have to wait too long to play this game. I'm definitely excited to see more and learn more about this game. Let me know what you all think about this state of play down in the comment section below. Are you all excited for 007 First Light? Did this state of play impress you? Did it turn you off the game a bit? Are you hesitant? Or are you feeling just, it's cool, and you're waiting to get a bit more hyped? Let's talk about it down in the comment section below. Leave a like on this video if you enjoyed it. Subscribe to the channel if you have not already, and hit the notification bell. That way you know as soon as new videos go live. My name is Tyler. This has been The Comfy Spot, and we'll talk next time. Have a good one.